You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man. Hey, everybody, what's happening? McGill Billy here.
Well, I'm Jamie.
This is One More for the Good Guys. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for sharing, subscribing, all that stuff. If you haven't been, shame on you.
Shame. You feel shame.
You shame. You should do that more. We need your help. Again, if you want to help us and you like what you see, and maybe you got another a good guy that you know or a gal that you know might enjoy some of the things that we do, pass the word along with us. Share us with your friends. But honest to goodness, just subscribing to the channel and giving a like, it really does help. Yeah, it's free, and it really does help us legitimately. It's a free way to help the show. So we're all the time trying to come up with new things and to talk about and different things. And we've actually started getting some feedback on some of our social media accounts that talks to us about stuff and show ideas and different things, and things that some of our other good guy listeners are interested in and want to know about. So we take all those into consideration, and we'll start doing some of those. We had a couple of really good suggestions there last week about show ideas, so that also helps things to talk about. So anywho, how's your week been?
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Short weeks are hard.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
You know, Tuesday's like Monday, which is depressing. And then you don't have a halfway day because Wednesday is the second day.
Right.
So it's the end of Wednesday. So your new Wednesday is between Wednesday and Thursday. It really sucks. But it's been fine. How's yours? I went fishing this week. So
yeah, got a new boat.
Yep.
I can't wait to see that. I'm anxious to see the boat and actually get to fish some out of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It looks nice from what I've seen. But now my week's been okay. I was sick all last week, and that was a real pisser.
Really, about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, we this coming Monday, well, not for you folks, but we recorded with our guest Nate Barrett last week, and I just woke up Friday morning and my chest was burning and nose and sinuses were on fire. I was coughing. I hadn't been anywhere publicly out. We hadn't had any gigs. So I didn't feel like there was any reason to test for COVID. Not unless you got it from that cigar. Yeah. Even when I'm going out and stuff now to take care of mom's business and stuff, I pick her medicine up through the drive-through window and then do the curbside pickup and stuff for groceries. So, I'm not.
Well, the number of things that can
not
give
around everybody.
Number of things that can get you sick. It's most likely not COVID, just by the numbers of it.
Well,
just cold, summer cold.
Exactly. I got, any rate on Friday, 2 weeks ago, Friday, it was, I just had all that junk, and man, I started doing the Sudafed and the Mucinex and chugging gallons of water, hitting 2,000 and 3,000 daily. What is that? What am I supposed to be looking at?
Followers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, we'll leave that. Yeah, we'll have to let everybody know what we were just looking at. So I just doubling up on vitamin C and D and zinc and just trying to kick it, man. And I'm telling you what, I just was worthless for a week and a half.
I know, man.
I just could not shake it. I had a gig. Was supposed to have been on the 28th.
So right? Yeah, solo gig.
A solo gig at Trailhead, one of our sponsors, as you're aware of, and
I think it was the 30th.
Well, maybe it was. Whatever the last. It was the Friday.
30th.
Yeah, I'm trying to see the calendar.
Dad's birthday was the 15th.
That's right.
26th, the Monday, and yours was 19th, the week before.
Yeah, that's right.
Or 18th.
I think it's the 28th. Oh no, that's this month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which would be a good time to talk about the 28th of this month because we're playing a show.
Yes, we will be. But I had to cancel that gig. I'd walked outside. I was getting some work done around the honky tonk, getting some grade work done and some stuff outside done that I need to get finished. And I met the guy outside and walked around for about 10 minutes. I mean, did nothing except walk around the property, which took about 10 minutes. And by the time I walked back in, I was sweating my ass off and I was stinking. I mean, I had a bath.
Right.
I mean, so I was like, I don't know, does sick stink? I just was like, holy cow.
Yeah, maybe getting well.
So I canceled the gig, but other than that, I'm still a little bit congested, but I'm certainly a million times better than I was. So
yeah, that's good.
Got a lot of work done out here.
Yeah, a lot
around the place. So that's gonna pay off in the long run, pay off good benefits. So all in all, it's been an okay week. I wish I hadn't been sick, but we're actually pretty excited. I'm excited. I know you are as well, but we're going to be going as this is taping, we're going to be leaving tomorrow, which really has no point of reference for you all. But Jamie's been had been kind enough and got me a birthday present to tickets to go see the Cubs play and the Yankees play. So one of us is going to make it back. If the Cubs make it, if the Cubs beat them, I'm not gonna. He'll make it back too. So we'll have another podcast. If the Yankees win, I don't know. May not be looking so hot for you. That's all I can say.
Well, I've never seen the Yankees lose in person, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, first time for everything.
I guess probably right.
No,
so that's today is the 5th, and this will air on the 16th. So we leave on the 6th. We'll be back on the 8th.
But looking forward. So once we get back from that, we'll let you know how that goes. We'll try to take a bunch of pictures and do some posts from up there in Wrigleyville. The friendly. I don't know how well I like Wrigleyville. I think I would rather, and I said that, and as soon as I did, I was like, damn it, you don't like that. So
is that Wrigley the same as the gum?
Yes.
Wrigley? Same folks?
It is. Okay. Yeah.
But, a lot of money in gum.
Oh yeah. But we'll be sure to document a trip from and you can follow along with all that stuff on our Instagram, One More for the Good Guys Instagram page, as well as our Facebook page. What's our Instagram page was up, I believe, we're up over 600 followers now.
That's the Good Guy Cigars page.
Good Guy Cigars.
Yeah.
Okay.
which we really haven't talked about a whole lot, really.
No.
I mean, maybe that's a good time to talk about it, huh?
Why don't you lead us into that then?
So, One More for the Good Guys started last year, physically started, and we talked about it a long time. But we've always smoked on the show. We always talk about cigars. And our new side project, if you will, not really a side project, a parallel project to this, we are opening an online / eventually mobile cigar store here in Knoxville called Good Guy Cigars. And you can find us at we have the domain Good Guy Cigars. So that was nice. And anyway, we are going to be offering all your favorite smokes at prices that you're not really going to leave, and you're not going to be able to touch local except with us. So anyway, it's going to be something fun. And yeah, that's that.
We could tell you a lot more about it, but just go to the you know where to go. For Jamie's said it once, but I don't know if we can direct you towards a website that but use your brain. You people are smart, most of you anyway. If you're following us or you're watching and subscribing to our stuff, then you're smart. Go out and find some other smart people, tell them about it. But
I guess I'll have to cut that, won't I?
Yeah, you might.
I have to.
But you can
Either way. Use your head.
Yeah, Good Guys Cigars. You should know. You should figure the rest of it out.
That's correct.
But yeah, so we've got 600 followers on our Instagram
in about 10 days
page over there. Yeah, which is crazy because we didn't do anything special. I mean, we just stayed active.
It's easier to promote a page when you have an actual product, a physical product. Because just for videos and things like that, with One More for the Good Guys, it's kind of it's like the umbrella, so it's kind of hard to describe the umbrella. So it's not as easily accessible to post stuff. But one and the same, just one has a retail arm to it, and the other has nothing to it. I guess no retail arm,
right. So, with that being said, we've got probably, oh, shut up. We've got 200 followers on the Instagram page with One More for the Good Guys. So, go check that. If you don't know that, or if you haven't been there, we're actually coming up with ways to put out more content, more posts, and pictures, cigars, guests. We're still learning, guys. That's the gist of it. So we're working out and training hard and trying to figure it out to up the game. So just spread the news with your friends and all that good stuff. What are we smoking?
Well, I brought in one of these Romeos, the 1875 in the Reserva Real. There it is. And we love this in the 5x50, which is the Bully, right? It's one of the best smokes.
It's a great little smoke.
For the money.
Overlooked, underrated.
Yeah. But this one's the Toro, and it's just not nearly as good. This one's better. I've had it 6 months or so, and it's been Jamie-ized in the humidor, so it's better, but it's not fantastic like the other one is.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, and I know I've shared this with you in the past, but in my opinion, I do think that Dominican tobacco ages better. There's something happens to it. It just gets a little better. things mellow out, some of the harshness.
And what you mean by that is it gets better as it ages.
Yes.
Not that it ages better than Nicaraguan tobacco or any other. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
But I feel like, there's something special with the, and that's got some Dominican blend in it. So, with the fillers and stuff.
And if you think about it, a lot of the Dominicans that I smoke, Ashton VSG for one, is aged.
Yeah.
And I don't matter what size you smoke that in, that son bitch is good.
Yeah. I smoked one last night that's, man, I don't know what, and I bought a 10-pack of these and I really liked them. The ones I smoked, and I think I gave you a couple or one or two, and then I think I've still got maybe 4 left. But the warped, Chinchilla.
Yeah. We posted a little review about that on the Instagram.
Yeah. I'm telling you what, Chinchale means in slang, in Cuban slang means small factory.
Itty bitty.
And then it also has the words Flor Fina wrote on the band as well, which means delicate flower. Or I think there's also some slang that it means maybe some different types of venereal disease in Cuba too. Seriously. But that was not the taste I got. Man, that's just a wonderful, 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 wonderful cigar. And it's in a great size, little 5x50 Robusto. And it just knocked my socks off, man.
You said it's one of the best first thirds you ever had.
Ever. And it was just everything. It's got so much stuff going on, but nothing hits you in the face. It's just a little of this here and a little, you get a little sweetness, you get a little honey, well. you get a little graham cracker, it's creamy. Then you get the pepper, but it's just, everything's just so subtle. And then you get this real brown sugary sweetness. I mean, it's just freaking fantastic. But
it's a pretty cigar too.
It is. It's got a nice. I think it's got an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, but it's in the rosado color, so it's got that red hue to it. Real pretty. It flawless construction, smoked amazing. I wished I'd had some rum, or maybe some. You know what would have went really well with it, and I may have to save us too for like when we get to our first year. When we actually get to the 1 year episode, I'll guarantee you that a nice bottle of champagne.
Oh,
it's that kind of subtlety.
Okay,
and not like a brute. So not something super sweet,
right?
But
now was that the first of that brand you had smoked?
Yeah. I'd heard good things from like Cigar Hound Dog, Michael Tisdale at Master Your Ash, and then Vintage Cigar with Eric. And I just heard good things about them, and the more those guys had reviewed them, and I thought, you know what? They came through one day and there was a sale price on a 10-pack, and I thought, well, shit, I'll get a 10-pack of those. So I took the chance on them, and boy, howdy.
Man.
Great little stick. But I'm excited about this little guy. You haven't smoked one yet, have you?
No.
I'm going to smoke this one today.
Thought I lost him.
But then I got high.
Yeah.
So I found these the other day on a sale. This is the Cabinet Series Perdomo Reserve La Tradicion in Cameroon. Hopefully you can see that. I'll put that in front of my face. It is I guess they only made it in one size. This is a is this a petite Corona? Is that what they said this was?
I think it is, yeah.
But it looks like it's like a 4.5 by 50, maybe 48. But it is very unusual
You
because
think it's a 48?
I mean, I'm just guessing.
I'm guessing 44.
Look and see if you see what you find on it. It may be a 44. You're probably right. 46 maybe. Probably isn't any bigger than a 46. Now that you so kindly
That's what
call me out
what I hear
in front of our people. I couldn't find any real information on that.
What's crazy about it is
I thought I had it.
We go, it's 4.5 by 44.
Okay, nice.
Petite Corona. So, what's crazy? We talk about this a lot, and we've got one hanging up around here somewhere, a Perdomo right here.
Yeah.
Perdomo's packaging is always just like, man.
Spot on.
But this wasn't, this was just a box. It wasn't ornate.
But it was in a box?
Yeah, 10.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't ornate though, or anything like that.
It was a bundle or not.
No, it was a box, limited edition thing. You would have thought with their background that it would have been bam, bam, but it's not. It's just a little box,
Well, maybe that's how they were keeping the price down. So good
and they're not. If you can get them, they're not really expensive. I bought them. Retail. I didn't buy them wholesale. I couldn't find them.
Yeah.
And retail on them, well, they weren't bad. I don't remember what they were, but
no, they weren't
limited
bad.
edition Perdomo Cameroon in one size, and the band's pretty, but is it Perdomo pretty? I don't know. I feel like maybe they farmed that one out.
Maybe, or maybe just since
we'll ask Nick.
Yeah,
we'll get him.
We'll have him on next week.
Yeah, we'll ask him.
Say, what'd you drop the ball for there?
Yeah, what's going on here? Just kind of walk through the motions.
This is a very interesting cigar. So, Jamie and I both really liked Cameroon wrappers. And this one in particular, you typically, when you think about Cameroon, you think about Fuente, you think about Oliva, you think about CAO, and AJ with the New World, Cameroon. Or that's normally the ones I think of. But evidently, so the Cameroon leaf, a true Cameroon leaf, is grown in Africa, in the region of Cameroon, in the country of Cameroon. And it's, I can't remember where I seen this or read this, but evidently, since one of the reasons a lot of people don't use it, obviously one is price, because it's, you got to get this thing from Africa and ship it all the way to Nicaragua.
When it's not as abundant.
And it's not as abundant.
Obviously, because not everybody makes a Cameroon.
And the leaves are smaller. They're very delicate. The leaf is very delicate, even though it's a very rustic looking wrapper and it's very toothy. They're very delicate. And now the part that I heard that really makes sense about all that is that because Fuente, CAO, and Oliva basically,
this is interesting,
saved the entire tobacco industry in Cameroon.
Yeah. Kind of like steroids save baseball.
No, nothing like that. God, what an asshole. So through civil wars, unrest, lots of fighting, Cameroon really got a bad name, and it was a dangerous place. But I believe we'll have to pull that article up, maybe link it in this.
Okay.
If we can. But because of that reasoning, Fuente is going to get the pick of the finest, so you have like an A, B, C, D
grade
wrappers on any type of tobacco that's wrapper worthy. And we'll say that A grade is obviously the best grade, right? And so your companies like Fuente, Oliva, and CAO, they're getting the best wrapper. They're getting the pick of the litter, is the way to say it. They're getting the pick of the litter.
They're getting the number one pick. Let's just make a sport analogy.
Right.
They got the number one overall pick.
Correct. And they're going to pick the best stuff. So not all the time can other folks find, a grade quality suited enough that will make the best looking wrapper and the best taste, da-da-da-da-da. So when I seen it was Perdomo, that's what really interested me because, Perdomo tobacco is very, they do everything. They do their own cellophane. They do their own bands. They do their own boxes. They grow their own, they are all inclusive. They're all under.
And they do not get talked about in the same breath as those others that you named.
No.
And they should.
They should. Just the attention and the attention to detail and everything that they do to have the quality. Now, maybe it's not the best stick. Maybe, now I know this is complete fabricated, but maybe, you like the champagne, but maybe it's not your favorite. This is not the case. Jamie loves the champagne. Maybe I love the 12 years double aged vintage Maduro, which I do. But you're going to find other folks or other things like Cigar Aficionado or even Cigar Journal or other publications, websites that are not big Perdomo fans as far as liking the taste or whatever. That's just not their thing.
Because it doesn't hit the ratings much. There's not a whole lot of, you don't see that.
But I'm telling you, the quality control, burn, draw, construction, knowing and listening to things like the Cigar Authority and hearing Nick talk, Mr. Perdomo talk on interviews,
and his son
Nicholas. I don't know, man. I want to go take that factory tour sometime.
He comes across to me as somebody that
complete
I would be buddies
perfectionist.
With. Right. And
attention to detail.
Attention to detail. And something we talk about the whole business at large is the brands. I was thinking about that while you were talking, like him and his son. You got EPC and his daughter. You got Garcia's, of course, Fuentes, Padrones. Always a family business, right? Mm-hmm. For the most part. And from all accounts, Nick's just a good dude, too. So
he was in the Navy. Came out of the Navy.
Is Rusty still in the Navy?
Came out of the Navy and became an air traffic controller.
Golly.
So he must be pretty damn smart. Who in the hell would want to do that?
He's got a high tolerance for stress.
Mm-hmm. But I guess then told his dad, and I only repeating what I've heard him say in interviews, but he told his dad he was going to start selling cigars and making cigars. And because his dad always told him that this is the greatest country in the world and you can do anything. You can do anything you set your mind to. So,
boy, he did. Man.
No kidding. But looking forward to that. Just lit this up. We'll check in and give you what's going on with it.
So, talking about that podcast, I've been listening to, we both listen to a lot of podcasts. Imagine that. And I've been listening to Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
And guest, or he's got a guy on there with him. His name's Chuck. And one, they're hilarious. If you can imagine that. It's funny. But, and you might think, oh man, that guy's he's an astrophysicist or whatever the hell he is, genius. He'll talk over my head. No, they really make the subject matter pretty approachable. Like in a way that even if you didn't care,
dummies like us can understand it.
Just like, holy shit, that's crazy,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And they'll have topics about, is there life on other planets, or how would we stop an asteroid from hitting the Earth, and things like that. And apparently it's from the radio show, a spinoff of the radio show. But man, so much good stuff out there to listen and watch right now.
Speaking of that, what is another couple that you'd recommend to folks to watch and or listen to, since we plugged ourselves here for?
Well, it depends on what you like. If you like something that you can listen to, I'll listen to an episode of this over like 3 weeks. But Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is one of the best podcasts ever. Of course, the Tyson one, I listened to the Ashholes and the Cigar Authority. I listened to some dramatized things too.
But like I'm going to talk about this too. What's your 2 or 3 that you
listen to always?
Yeah.
That one.
That still, other people would, want to hear.
Yeah. There's one called Everything 80s I listen to a lot.
Not that Yankee Doodle Dandy one you listen to.
No, that's personal.
Yankees.
Yeah. I don't really listen to that. Everything 80s one is really good.
Yeah.
Of course, I listen to Rogan. Short history. There's a podcast called The Short History Of, that is, like it says, it's a short history of different topics. And man, it is so well done. It's incredible. And of course, Sword and Scale, I've listened to that for years. And it's one of the finest put together things you've ever heard. And then bits and pieces of other stuff. I'm not one that follows a certain podcast like episode after episode.
Yeah.
I'll find a topic that I'm interested in for that couple of months, and I'll hunt podcasts like that. And, and I'm all that space shit. Really, it interests me. It's very, and to hear like I said, he had Shatner.
Yeah.
William Shatner on the other day. Who's 90 something.
He's old.
And man, just to hear him talk and some of it's
hard to believe he's 90 years
he's
old.
Over 90. Right?
Wow.
And they talked about Star Trek a lot, but they talked about life and things. And it's just
would you have would you have guessed it that he was 90
on the podcast? No,
either.
No,
looking at him,
maybe not looking at him either,
but listening to him.
Oh, definitely not listening to him. He's sharp and he's got his faculty. He's 93.
That's amazing.
He'll be 94 in March.
Give her all she's got to copy.
It's crazy about that show he talked about. There's only 3 seasons of the original, right?
Right.
And it got canceled. And then I forget how he talks about how the resurgence, and then how all of a sudden 10 years after it's canceled, they're doing the movies, and now Star Trek's probably bigger than ever. There's so many different shows. Next Generation came out in 87, I think it was. But anyway, it was an interesting thing. And he played one of the best. I love Star Trek, but he played one of the best characters in TV history in Boston Legal, man. Denny Crane.
Yeah.
If you've not seen Boston Legal, after you've watched all our videos, go watch that.
I was
James Spader in it too. Fantastic.
I was listening to, and I told you about this one, and I hadn't asked you about it yet. If you enjoyed it, I mean, I think you'd gotten through maybe a little bit of it, but
Honeydew.
Well, no, that's one I definitely listened to a lot, but was the episode of Rogan that had
Russell
Crowe.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Wow, wasn't that
mesmerizing?
Amazing?
Is what it was.
And
I mean,
such a eloquent speaker.
And to have him right, we watched all his films, but to have him right here in your ear, man, it's like and Rogan just lets him go, man.
Yeah.
And
the good thing he did, because there was so much
little tidbits. The thing about the Sistine Chapel, if you haven't listened to Rogan's episode with
the Poplites,
the Poplites, Russell Crowe, you need to listen to it.
It's fantastic.
If you're not a Russell Crowe fan now, you will be.
And he gives one of the best definition. You figure out what word you want to put with it, but about faith.
Yeah.
Religious based faith. I won't say Christianity. I won't say any denomination, but just he just gives one of the best and what seemed like most genuine and most understandable answers, definitions, descriptions that I wish I had come up with because it was right on time.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, that is one that you need to bookmark and listen to for sure.
I listen to, there's a couple, three that I listen to, and I can cover some ground on them. I'm a big, wrestling fan. So there's several of those that are good. If you like professional wrestling, and yes, I say wrestling.
We're in a honky tonk.
Yeah, we're in a honky tonk in East Tennessee.
Exactly.
What the hell you want me to say? If I didn't pronounce it like that, the spirit of Don Wright would come through the door and put a Tennessee dog whooping on my ass. Put me in one of them warp your head off holds. But another one that I listen to a lot that I really like is Julian Edelman's got one called Games with Names.
I've heard about it. I haven't listened to it.
It's really good.
Edelman being the receiver for the Patriots.
Yes.
Former receiver
with the Patriots. But it's really good. He gets different folks, celebrities. He had Terry Bradshaw on there talking about one, and then he had Ed O'Neill was on one, Al Bundy. He did not cover the Polk County High 4 touchdown game that he had that won him the city championship. But so each guest picks a game that they remember, a football game, baseball game, could be a boxing match. I mean, any sporting event they really remember. And they try to come up with a name for the game if it doesn't have one. And then they talk about why this game was influential.
Like a name like the Ice Bowl.
Right.
Something
correct.
like that. Okay.
Correct. So it's very good. It's comical. It's enough sporting talk to really keep you interested if you're a sports person. But if you're also, depending upon guests, it's also got enough entertainment value that with
if you're not a sports person.
you're not a complete sports person, then you're still going to enjoy it as well.
Because he doesn't just interview sports people. He
had one of the girls from Saturday Night Live, Ed O'Neill, Rob Riggle, the dude that used to do some of the Fox stuff, who was a former Marine and stand-up comedian, and a lot of really good stuff on that. That's a fun one. Cigar stuff related, like Jamie said, the Cigar Authority, the Ash Holes
is aptly named because they are the Cigar Authority.
They know their shit.
They really do. Collectively, specifically know their shit. It's like,
and it's pretty funny because one of them, the guy David Garofalo, who owns the Two Guys Smoke Shop and does the Cigar Authority, and the main guy,
he talks like a person named David Garofalo should talk.
That's from Boston.
Yeah.
It's over. Forget about it. It's over. So, and Tommy and Johnny. So you can, that's kind of fun to listen to them, talk about Pike and the Kai and, going down to the Packy and getting some brews. But at any rate, those are two good ones for cigars. And then, another one that I listen to a lot is the Honeydew with Ryan Sickler. Ryan's a stand-up comedian. And his podcast is the lowlights that don't make the highlights, but basically, the lowlights that doesn't make the highlights, but pretty much define why you are who you are, in comedians' careers. So a lot of really good stuff on there. And then he does another little one that's a follow-up to that called The Way Back, which is kind of fun. It's,
I haven't listened to it. But
the Honeydew's like an hour and a half, and then the Way Backs, are usually anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. So they're pretty quick hitter, and it's all about nostalgia from his guests and stuff they remember, stories and blah, blah, blah. So all of those are really good and stuff that I listen to as well.
Makes you wonder, as good and abundant as podcasts are, the low level of cost that it takes to start one. What does that mean for the future of radio?
Well,
not to jump off on that tangent, but radio advertising is expensive, man. And it's not as expensive as television, of course, but it's pricey. When we had the restaurant, we did some radio spots, and they were effective too, which means somebody's listening to the radio. And I will listen to the radio maybe if I'm traveling, but usually no further than I travel these days. I've got a podcast. If I'm going on a trip, I got a podcast going or nothing or music.
Yeah.
Or I'm taking a short trip across town, like coming here or whatever, and I'm on the phone or just sitting in silence. I mean, who listens to the radio? And I love radio.
Yeah.
It's one of the podcasts I listen to is old radio shows. That's it. Just,
I used to love taking road trips and getting on the AM dial.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of the night.
Well, that's when driving, you can do it.
Because that's like when I really love to drive anyway. Yeah. If you're going on a long trip, let's leave at midnight. Don't worry about nothing. I'll drive. I'm going to be up all damn night anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's just who I am and who I've always been. So, but yeah, that was all. And it was always like, it's always kind of like an Easter egg hunt or a lottery, because you just never knew what you were going to find next.
Right.
There might be 50 miles through West Texas that you got to hear. It was a niche radio station that played nothing but
Bob Wills.
Bob Wills or cowboy music from the 50s
Yeah.
or 60s, you know, or then you could run across one that was, I don't know. It's just always a treasure trove of what might could turn up through their airwaves. And you might catch a local football game. And
High school, maybe.
Yeah, high school game.
Yeah.
And hear and actually hear a broadcaster who has got some chops and is good, you know, and not just the same old that you
Like Bill Cox from Bill Cox's outfit in Sling Blade.
right.
That's who he was. He was the high school football announcer. That's how Billy Bob found that guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. I think what it says for radio though is, I mean, I think there's always going to be radio to some degree. That would be an interesting thing to dig into a little bit and try to find some of the numbers of.
Maybe we'll get.
And that I've got a good friend of mine that could maybe shed some light on that.
You know, maybe, and I just thought of this,
wig and all that stuff.
Maybe their thoughts are, hey, man, we lasted through television. We can do anything.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at first television was a fad. Oh, it's not going to last. And then they were like, oh, radio's not going to last. Well, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
They're always, you've got to adapt and evolve or you die, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So they've probably thought, hey, man, podcasts ain't nothing. We've been competing with TV for 85 years or whatever.
Well, that's true too.
75.
I mean,
so,
and they were the first kid on the block, so they've learned to stick and move a little bit.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that podcasts do is kind of like within the music industry too. Is it just creates it gives a better opportunity for somebody to take complete control of what they want to do,
their material,
say, and their material, and it just makes everything more accessible.
You know, I guess, you know, we talk about social media a lot,
and there's still people out there that are like, "Pod what?"
Yeah, they don't.
You know, they don't know.
They don't know. Well, I remember my first encounter with it. I thought, is this something I got to pay for? Or, you know what? I mean, I get to listen to all this for free. Yeah, am I getting scammed?
Yeah.
But, you know, social media gave a sounding board and a soapbox for every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the world. And it's of my opinion that not every Tom, Dick, and Harry needs one of those.
Right.
And maybe I'm one too, but
you're definitely one.
I'm sure. And
one of something.
I'm not Tom or Harry, am I?
Dick.
So
you're gaining on it.
I get it.
Damn, who said the boy you can't train a cat?
So I just, with podcasts, and I've listened to a lot of them.
Mm.
You hardly ever come across somebody. Now, it may not be your topic of choice, or it may not be something that you give a damn about. But usually, whoever's doing the podcast does have something to say that's worth listening to.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a separation from everybody can say whatever they want on social media. And podcasts it takes a little bit of initiative. So maybe you do have something to say. I don't know. I don't know what the psychology behind it is, but there's a lot of good podcasts out there. One More for the Good Guys being one of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we were talking. I said something about wrestling. Some of the wrestling podcasts I listen to. Kevin Nash has got a good one that's a little bit less wrestling. Today's topics.
Kevin Nash, who played basketball at the University of Tennessee.
Yes, that is correct.
For Don DeVoe.
Correct.
And went on to have a big wrestling career.
Big wrestling career. Was a world champ a couple of different times in a couple of different organizations with the WWF, which is now the WWE, and WCW.
I saw him once. I think it was at the Philadelphia airport.
Big guy.
Oh, my God.
Giant.
Yeah.
His shoulders are like out here and waist is like, I mean, his lats are unbelievable.
And he's 60 something.
Yeah. I think he's like 62 or 3 now.
Yeah.
But his is pretty funny. He's got a pretty dry sense of humor. They talk about some of the stuff from back in the day, as well as some of the product that were on different organizations that from like NXT, NXT, AEW, WWE, all that stuff. If you want to go back in time, and learn about a lot of stuff from yesteryear on the wrestling, our good old buddy JR, by God, from Norman, Oklahoma. He's got one called Grillin' JR, and that's a really good one. They'll preview some of the stuff that's coming up, but they'll take you back to like SummerSlam 2004, King of the Ring 1999, and give you all the ins and outs about what happened leading up to, during, and after those shows.
Pritchard's podcast is that way too.
Yeah. But, love him or hate him, one of the best ones that there ain't nobody in this planet that can do a rant any better than Jim Cornette.
Oh, God.
And the Jim Cornette experience is, but now you're going to have to love him. There's no in between, I don't think, with Corny.
Well, that's exactly right. But
he's
the
great.
man might be the most knowledgeable wrestling historian on the planet.
Absolutely. Just when it comes to
just remembering and knowing.
Yeah, memorabilia, angles, remembering.
He's got all that footage,
Well, I'll guarantee you when Vice does when they decided to do like Dark Side of the Ring or any of that other stuff, they called him. I bet his was the first call.
I would imagine so. It's certainly from a consultant standpoint.
Into the Castle of Cornette walls and go through all that treasure trove of stuff. But
you might be
those are funny.
I'm sure that people out there listening to this thinking, man, what the hell are they talking about wrestling for?
We're just all over the place.
Let me just tell you.
Yeah.
If you haven't encountered professional wrestling, you need to.
Yeah. It's great.
There's something in it for everybody.
It's great.
It's genius is what it is, really. It's,
we grew up on the old stuff and the new stuff. I still watch I watched this last one. I watched the Bash in Berlin, and I could give you a breakdown on all that stuff and what I thought and where I think things are going. The thing about, when we watched it, kayfabe was real. So for all you non-wrestling people, kayfabe was just basically the pretending there was good guys, there was bad guys. They didn't ride together. They didn't dress together. They didn't talk to each other. It was called kayfabe, and that meant to keep the show 100% real at all times. When I heard Cody Rhodes talking about his dad one time and said when they did the angle where the Horseman had supposedly broke Dusty's leg,
right,
that he had a cast made a special for him that he could put on and take off at any time. And if he would go to the store to get him a can of Copenhagen or a Coca-Cola, he put that he put that cast on because it was kayfabe. It was real. Bret Hart told a great story one time about his dad. If you don't know anything about a little bit of the background on that, Bret Hart was from the Hart family. His dad was named Stu Hart, had about a gazillion kids. But Stu he owned Calgary Stampede Wrestling in Canada. So he toured all over Canada putting on these wrestling shows, and he owned it. He paid them. He promoted it. He produced it, the whole 9 yards. So Bret Hart tells a story about Archie, and I can't remember Archie's last name, but basically the Mongolian Stomper.
Right.
And, he tells a story about we were in I'm just making stuff up. I'm not going to quote this to make it directly correct. But like we're there in Alberta one night, or Winnipeg, or Calgary at the arena, Archie gets a hold of Stu and tells him he's going to kill him. Now this guy Archie, who was also played a character called the Mongolian Stomper from here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Big time guy, wrestled all over the world. He was a crazy man. He was a lunatic.
Mongolian Stomper.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. And, he said Brett remembers him fighting his dad one night at the arena and, was threatening that he was going to kill him and cripple him where he can never walk again. And I'll come for your children and, this whole 9 yards. And he said, so the next day we're sitting at the house. I hear a car coming up the driveway and I look out and it's this yellow Corvette. And it's Archie. And he said, I'm scared for my life. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
Right, because he's a kid.
Yeah, and he's not smartened up. Nobody's smartened the kids up to it. It's because this shit's real.
Yeah.
And and he says, he comes up to the door, knocks on the door. His mom goes to the door. He said, I'm hiding with a baseball bat thinking I'm going to do anything I can to protect my mom. And he comes in, hugs, kisses my mom. She writes him a check. We'll see you next week, Archie. Tell the family I said hello. You be safe out there. Da 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 da. And he said, "You talking about the most confused 12-year-old kid on the planet?" He's like, "I didn't know what had just happened." So, back in those days, we got hooked in. I got hooked in on that. Was the believability of it, and the feuds, and just the entertainment value. Nowadays, I get hooked on how are they going to tell this story? Where are they going to push this next? Who's going to win this match and why? And how does that set up the next 3 weeks of stuff leading up to the next
opera.
Big? Yeah.
Soap opera.
So you kind of like your it's kind of like fantasy football. You're the owner. And you're figuring out how all the stuff's going to go down to, make everything up for the next week. So, but yeah, wrestling's great, man.
Well, there's no different. And I tell people this. They're like, oh, wrestling's fake or whatever. It's like, you know what? Movies are fake.
Duh.
Too. And television, all that. It's just watching a story effectively live in front of a live television audience, right? So it's entertainment, folks. Don't take yourself too seriously. It's like the Bigfoot thing, we were talking about earlier.
And it's more predetermined than it is fake. There ain't nothing fake about getting...
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm using the words they use.
No, I know
fake,
you are.
I just what is fake? Is it Greco-Roman wrestling? No.
Yeah.
So it's fake that, I guess, but
it ain't fake when those guys back in the day were driving from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale to Daytona Beach to Jacksonville to
and
Atlanta to Charlotte
out of them
to Greensboro, then over to Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
And doing that all in a week. And sometimes twice on Sundays.
That's right. Doing something that from a abuse to your body.
Oh, absolutely.
Standpoint. I mean, think about it. Football players play once a week. These guys are playing every day.
Yeah.
No pads.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, Bigfoot.
Oh, shit.
We were talking about Bigfoot earlier. And remember we had Poe Hannah on and we were talking about Bigfoot on that episode and we kind of touched on it, and we're like, well, do you believe something of that nature? And he's like, well, it's more fun to believe. And that applies to wrestling and that kind of stuff and Bigfoot. I agree with that assessment. It's like,
absolutely. No,
does
I
it
agree
make
with that.
logical sense that nobody's ever really captured one? No.
Bigfoot's big footprint.
But it's fun.
Ooh.
You know, it's fun to imagine that there's a big hairy son bitch out there somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it's
That's
real.
not the Mongolian stuff.
Yeah, it's not going to come in the middle of the night. Yeah, I'm with Poe. It's just funner to believe there is, I suppose.
We talked about that.
And, you know, it's kind of like the legend of the Woolly Swamp. You know, there's things out there to make a grown man afraid. Or shaking fright. That's what it was.
I watched an episode about a marijuana farm out on the West Coast somewhere.
The ghost of Lucius Clay. Was he guarding it?
And Poe had seen that episode too, and they think that Bigfoot killed a bunch of those folks. No, it's most likely
Bigfoot needs to smoke more.
Apparently, but anyway, I forget what that was.
Obviously, he's probably part vegan. He should just ate some plants.
Yeah, it's got to be. Maybe that's why he killed him. He wanted it for himself.
Maybe it was sativa and not he wanted indica.
Yeah.
He just jazzed him up too much.
I guess so.
Started
fucking people up. Oh, wrestling, man. I got through this and it's all right. I mean, it's just not, I won't buy these in that size again.
Yeah.
They just don't have the right ratio to wrapper to filler to give it that same taste. It's just not the same.
This is good. This one is good. There's definitely that typical sweet coffee and a little bit of it's a little bit of fruit, maybe citrus component. But it is pretty, and I could be just from me getting over being a little sick too. All my taste buds and everything could be up on 11 right now, or they could be. But this is a pretty stout cigar. This is not for a sissy. I think the nicotine's pretty high in this. But good. Pairs well with a nice bourbon. I'm drinking a bottle of Bullet that Brandon Fusen brought over here, Tennessee Brando brought over here the other night, and pairs quite nice with that, the sweetness and the caramel and stuff from the bourbon.
Surprised it's strong. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, and again,
could be, yeah.
It could just be me. I mean, one of the things when I was sick, anytime that I talked or tried to use my voice for any type of real projection or talk for moving air, you know, I'd get choked up and start coughing and stuff. So it just could be something to do with that as well, but not unenjoyable by any means. But I do think a little more, a little more age on these, they'll be a little bit better.
Well, you said before we started that that's Nicaraguan, though.
Yeah. Well, but I do think sometimes, like when stuff, when things like when you get a cigar, it may be just like a pepper bomb. I do think that age kind of mellows.
Yeah, I think
mellows that as on any type.
I think so too.
I think something a little magical happens with Dominican blends more so than just it settling down. But with Nicaraguan, it does definitely settle it down a little bit. But none of it's overwhelming. It's not overwhelmingly powerful, but it's got some punch to be such a little cigar. But still enjoyable.
For some reason, I started thinking about UT football just then.
Well worth the price that we paid.
Oh yeah, it's deal.
Yeah.
What do you think? Now we've got one, as of this recording, we got one game under our belt against Chattanooga, which I know it's hard to gauge against a team that doesn't, it wasn't designed to compete with a Division I powerhouse. But what do you think?
Well, there's a couple things on that. I think one thing is, I think everybody played at Chattanooga. I mean, Ohio State played Akron. This one played this one.
Right.
This one played Georgia State or whatever, lesser teams for your first time out. The big thing that we did this year that we haven't done in years past, in several we hadn't done since Fulmer was there, is we handled that lesser team in a half. We handled them in the first quarter this time around. Now, in years past, who was the UTEP team that almost beat us last year or year before?
Sure. Not
almost beat us, but gave us more of a fight than anybody would have ever thought. UTEP, who's...
Exactly.
So with that being said, I feel like we've came from that program that is expected to win this game to that program that won this game in a quarter, like the Ohio States do.
Right.
Like
that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So our depth, and I think it's great that we got our second stringers in there. I think it's great that we didn't play, like James Pierce and our big marquee guy names on defense. Probably only played about Keelan Peely. They only played about 15 plays the entire game.
Yeah.
So when you can do that, that's what you're supposed to do against Chattanooga's and UTEP's and Arkansas State and all these different schools of that caliber. So in that regard, man, we looked real good. I think our defensive backs, we're going to get more of a challenge just because North Carolina State's got better off. They've got better players than Chattanooga.
Sure.
But I don't think they're ready for this offense. I think with the offense that Heupel runs and with the depth that we have, you got to remember, last year we played all those young receivers. All those young receivers realized that they sucked last year.
Yeah.
They also realized that, hey, we've got, pardon me, guys.
Well, you're just getting over sick.
We've gotten to play an entire football season as the guys and get all this experience. So, our defense, I think, is going to be good. Everybody was like, well, we didn't get that many sacks against Chattanooga. Well, Chattanooga only dropped back twice.
Yeah.
On 5-yard drop passes. Their game plan was to drop 2-3 steps, get rid of the ball.
Well, I don't blame them.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah.
So I don't think our defensive line and stuff had the chance to show off because there wasn't that time to get to them. But I think North Carolina State's got a good team. I think they're well coached. But I don't think they've got the depth that we've got. I think they might play us tough for a half, but we're going to smoke them.
Yeah.
That's my assessment.
By the time I was looking up the line there, because I saw a thing about it yesterday. The line yesterday was 7.5. It's 9.5 today.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a betting man, but I don't know how you don't take Tennessee 9.5 and give them 10 points. I just don't see how you don't do that. If we don't win by more than 10, something's wrong.
I think so. And I mean, let's face it. Here's another thing. We didn't win against a ranked opponent last year. Last year.
Right.
With Joe. Not the year prior to that with Hendon. So, with that being said, that'll be a big win. Whether they need to be there or not, NC State's what? 14, 15, 17, somewhere?
24.
24. All right. Well, they're in the top 25, so.
Well, they got beat last week.
They got beat their first week?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe not, but I was thinking that they.
Well, you can find it, but nonetheless.
Well, the time this comes
we
out,
we hadn't beat a ranked opponent last year, and
right.
And to be able to beat one in the second game of the season, going back to Oklahoma,
right?
That's going to be.
I think
we're going to be okay.
I think you're going to find out whether this team's got a character or not in these first three games, because you've got Chattanooga, North Carolina State, and then you got Kent State.
Right.
Okay. So it'd be easy to go through that and just walk through the motions and play sloppy, which they did not do in the first game.
No.
I think it really shows how important the quarterback position is in football. I think this kid's got all the tools to be really good.
Well, he's not just getting there. Knoxville's not the only one drinking the Iamaliava Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And
the nation's drinking it.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Talking heads.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people are saying this guy is going to be, he's special. And instead of thinking he's going to be special next year, he's already special.
Yeah.
And is going to do. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to win the fucking Heisman or we're going to go 12-0 or anything like that. But general consensus over the guy is that he's special. Now, they dumbed the offense down with him, against that Iowa team. And Iowa didn't run a lot of confusing defenses. They kind of ran one standard defense, as well as like Chattanooga did as well. Now, what you're going to start seeing as the year goes on is, they're going to see schemes. They're going to be disguising something as a cover 2, but playing a cover 4. You know what I mean?
Well, the real season
pressure's never going to come from this side, and then all of a sudden it comes from that position.
Real season starts against Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
You'll when you start getting into SEC play, then you'll know
yeah, absolutely.
what it's about. The thing that's nice about it, and now he's a redshirt freshman, right?
Yeah, I think he's still.
Did they say something about he's the first freshman to start a game for Tennessee? And I can't remember how long. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, it would have been since Manning.
He did.
Or are you talking about season opener?
Season opener.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. Yeah. It would be quite some time then.
Maybe they said ever. Maybe not. I don't know. But either way, it's nice to know that you've got somebody that has the physical tools to get the job done.
Yeah.
Not just, Joe could sling it farther than anybody, but so could Jamarcus Russell. So, it's a lot more.
Hey, and it's looking like Joe might be second string quarterback in New England.
Hey,
he went up there,
man.
He went up there and
he gets his accuracy down. There's no reason he can't be.
Well, I just think he was the wrong guy for this offense. He wasn't a Heupel guy.
No,
he wasn't recruited by him. So.
But up there,
you know what I mean?
Got to throw the ball accurately.
Well, you do, but you're also playing so much more under center.
Yeah.
And you're also, your slot back ain't past the hash. He's in, you know what I mean? It's just a little different setup, but evidently he's doing
well. Good. I hope he does.
Really,
I
really
hope he does, man. If he would just get his accuracy down, he's got the physical tools to do it. But it's nice to go into a season thinking, okay, I don't ever go in thinking, oh, national champ, none of that. I've been heartbroken too many times for that shit. But
yeah,
I think that the hype's real. I think maybe he's got the tools to do it. Now let's see what he does here, and emotionally, if he can maintain that. That's a hard position. Well, playing, we don't realize, I think, how hard it is to be a quote unquote student athlete.
No.
As far as what's required of you, I know they're making millions of dollars now with this NIL thing or whatever, but it's still tough.
But I'll tell you this, and I was thinking about this the other day. I'll tell you this about the NIL stuff, and especially concerning Tennessee, the university. There's not, I don't have the fear or the worry about a lot of these kids since Heupel has been there to be caught on the strip with a illegal firearm with the fucking numbers filed off the side of them. But you know what I mean? And I think because Tennessee took such a stance against the NCAA and went head first into that bullshit concerning money and NIL, I think that's, well, let me finish up on that. I think that's got something to do with, hey, you're going to have character or you're not going to get this money.
Right.
You're not going to get paid. We have went and took on the big bad wolf, and now we're leading the country in how to do this the right way. And we're not going to take any chance on you being drunk down at the cookout and getting in a fight.
Right.
So now obviously young people screw up all the time. I screwed up when I was young. But again, as you're saying, with that position there of power and praise comes a lot of responsibility. And I think our stance and our take on, how are we getting all these better recruits right now than like Georgia and Alabama?
I don't know.
And
I don't know that I want to
know. No, maybe
I don't
not.
know that I want to know either.
But something, and with and it goes all the way back, with the AD. Just give him a extension and name number one athletic department in the United States, and he's the number one AD. I don't know. Business may have picked up. You know what I'm saying? Far as
I told Dad, I thought this is the best right now, is the best I've ever seen that athletic program.
Oh, absolutely.
The best condition.
No, hands down.
And would you have said that 5 years ago?
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't. I'm kind of excited. I know this might be premature. I'm kind of excited to see what this women's basketball team's going to do.
I'm excited to see what she's going to do over there.
Nothing against Kelly Jolly, but I just think that somebody outside of the fold of the old regime, living under Pat's shadow, which is very long, that I think somebody outside might be what we need over here. We brought a basketball coach in from Texas,
a basketball coach,
and that worked. So. And we brought a baseball coach in from, I can't remember where the hell he was, but where he was.
Well, he had been at several places. I think he'd been at Southern Miss. I think he'd been at Missouri. I think he was at Missouri before he was here.
Okay.
I think that was the job with that he had right before he came to UT. But he'd been around a long time as far as he was on the coaching staff with Schlossenguzel or whoever the fuck, the guy from Texas A&M.
Oh, okay.
Schlossenegel. I don't know his name. I'm making up stuff.
He
now.
went
start sounding like Cornette if you don't tell me so quick.
He went to and played at Missouri.
Yeah.
And he coached there as an assistant, but then he was at TCU in Arkansas. He came from Arkansas to here.
He was with Schlitzengigel at TCU.
Okay. Schlitzengigel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Schlitzennagel. I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, no, I think the athletic program's in tremendous shape. I mean, at no time, I mean, I can't remember the last time that there was this much excitement. I'll put the analogy like this. Okay. Sevier County, Dollywood used to be a seasonal town of 4 months, 5 months out of the year tops, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then it went to 6, then it went to 9. Now it's a destination year round.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happened to Tennessee again is, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to basketball season starting.
Yeah.
I didn't never, until Barnes. I mean, even when Bruce was here, I didn't sit down and watch the basketball team that much.
No, I didn't either.
I didn't sit down and I didn't pay attention to a lot of the Lady Vol stuff after Pat was gone. And all this stuff happens time stamped throughout the year. And I think year round in the top 5 sports, women's softball, women's basketball, men's basketball, football, and baseball. I mean, that's a 12-month.
Yeah, basically.
That's a 12-month year to be excited about wearing the big orange. So I can't imagine another time that it's ever been like this. I don't remember it.
And a lot of those, winning's contagious. I mean,
absolutely,
it just is. You start winning and then get a winning attitude and you start feeling that way again. And, I haven't heard as much, we're national championship talk as you normally do when you win the first game. But so maybe everybody's a little more grounded now and seeing how it works. I certainly think that with the 12-team playoff, we got a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
You get hot right there at the end. It's just like the tournament in the basketball or baseball. You get hot at the end playing well.
Absolutely.
And, so
it's going to give better opportunities, and it's also going to be, about the timing, like you say.
Yep.
I think this year just as well. I mean, we've had 2 weeks of games right now. Seeing Florida State start 0-2, how good is that?
Lord.
And
it's apt to get worse.
Oh, it's not going to be better.
Preseason ranked 10.
Florida looks like just pure dog shit. Who else was LSU?
Yeah.
I could never understand. Now I'm going to get on one here just a little bit, but I could never understand why LSU was ranked number 10 was ranked up so high and above us this year when they lost their starting quarterback to one of the first 5 picks in the NFL draft. They didn't have a good year.
They won the Heisman.
Yeah, won the Heisman. Didn't have a good year last year. What'd they finish? 10-3 or 9-3?
4, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they had 3 or 4 losses. And then everybody talking about how great of a coach Brian Kelly is. Has he won a national championship?
Nope. How did he do in the NFL? Nope.
I didn't.
Nope.
And then they didn't just get beat by USC. They got handled by USC. And USC had one of the worst defenses in college football last year.
Well, they also lost their star quarterback.
Absolutely. Number 1 pick.
Yep.
And were terrible.
Yep.
So all of that, relishing in all those bastards that I could give a flip about losses, I think it's going to be good for football because you're going to see teams like Boston College,
Georgia Tech,
underdogs, unranked teams or lower ranked teams beating higher ranked teams. And it's not going to be decided within the first 4 weeks of the season of who's going to be able to make it. Now,
Florida State, you're probably not going to make it.
No. But, you got those top 4 that made it, to the last, however long that shit went on with the playoff thing. Well, guess what? You're going to have those 4 again. They're going to be there again too, right? More than likely, regardless of who they are. They're probably going to be there again too. But now you're going to have another top 4.
Right.
That's probably going to be there every year. Then you're going to have another top 4 that's probably going to be right in that same bracket. They're going to move from 12 to 5 each year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those schools, those teams, and it's going to bring a lot of parity to
which is good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate Miami, and I don't like Notre Dame, but when Miami football and Notre Dame football are good, college football's good.
Yep. Same thing with Michigan. I hate Michigan with a passion, but
they're going to get their dicks knocked up in their watch pocket come Saturday.
Who they got Saturday?
Texas.
Oh.
In the big hoose.
Yeah, that could be bad.
I'd say that'd be bad. I don't know. They may fool us.
So let's close out with a prediction. All right. How many SEC teams make the 12-team playoff?
37. Oh wait, 12-team playoff.
That math don't
Sorry,
work.
yeah. My bad. I got excited.
How many SEC teams do you say?
Oh man. Realistically, you got 12 spots. Tennessee, I think, has got a very good chance of being there. Alabama's got a tough schedule, man, but I think they can be there. That DeBoer guy's a good coach, man. He's a good coach, and they got studs already down there. I mean, I know they lost a lot of people. I heard a rumor that said
Saban was in on who they hired.
I mean, he's proven everywhere he's been a winner. So, and I tell you, the last 2 years, I watched a lot of Washington Huskies football games. I liked them. I liked watching their games. So I think Alabama's there. Of course, Georgia. Ole Miss, unless they just, Lane loses oxygen from combing his hair or his visor's too tight, I think they can be right there. That's 4. Top 12. I mean, is LSU going to? Are they going to be any better than 9-3?
I don't think so, but you got to remember now, Texas and Oklahoma are in the SEC.
I'm getting there.
So I've got my number. I don't know if they're going to let it.
What's your number?
5. I think you're going to have 5 SEC teams.
I was going to say 5 to 6.
I don't think they can get away with 6. I think they'll get chastised on social media so bad, which is ridiculous because I want the 12 best teams. Don't you?
Well,
I want the 12 best teams to play.
Do you think they wanted Tennessee and Alabama playing in that NCAA final game?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In basketball?
Yeah.
You think that might have had a reason that Zach Edey was able to, short of having a 38 and a fucking claw hammer killing people.
Yeah.
I mean, so you might have a point there. I'm not saying I'm not being.
Well, there's powers at work there.
Absolutely.
Other than who's winning. And I'm not exactly sure how the selection process happens, but you go
Johnny said,
if you sit down and you chart
Johnny said,
that's right.
It's about the money, man.
If you chart out who you think's going to be on it just based on money or be in it based on money, I'm saying Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss. There's 7 right there. I think Tennessee, maybe Oklahoma. And if you're talking about you want big money people in there, you need USC in there. You need another West Coast-ish team. That's 10.
I mean, you got Oregon, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, all those out of the Big 10 or the Big 367. How many of them there are?
Yeah, Big 27.
But and then you got to think about is there anybody out of the Big 12 going to make it?
Or whatever they're calling themselves these days.
Saying that Nebraska's,
good.
Yeah. I mean, they got a quarterback. They got that kid from, they brought somebody in.
Yeah.
But, no, I think that's a very safe number, and a realistic number. 5.
Okay.
I like that number. My first thought was 6, but then when you said, then when you stop and go back and do the math, carry the 1, that's half the field. So that's probably not going to happen.
It might,
unless it can't be denied.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got 6 teams in the top 10,
so
which you very well could have,
you're going to have to have them in the. If you're going to have them in the top 9, if Notre Dame wins out,
yeah, because they want to represent the conference.
They get guaranteed 5th.
Oh, if they win out,
they get guaranteed a 5th place spot because they're an independent.
Oh, well,
so
and they could. I mean, they could win out.
I mean. One of their toughest matchups was that game against A&M. I mean, you look at their schedule. Pull their schedule up real quick, and then we will close out because we're. I don't think they got too tough a schedule left. But I'll say this. Notre Dame don't look like Notre Dame used to look. They look like they got a lot of swagger. That coach has got them fired up, and he was a hell of a ball player in his day. And, normally you look and you see you got these big pie eaters on the offensive line, and now they look a little more athletic. They're still big pie eaters, but they look a little more athletic. Their corners are taller. The receivers are taught, you know what I mean? So,
man, they do have a pretty light schedule. They got Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, who's ranked apparently, Stanford.
They always are though for a little while.
Yeah, Stanford, Georgia Tech.
Well, Georgia Tech would be tough.
It's at Georgia Tech too.
That'll be a tough game.
Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army. And they end up at USC. That'll be a tough game.
So they got 2 tough games left. They got Georgia Tech and USC.
If they win out,
opinion.
Yeah. If they win out.
Hey, I'll tell you this. If anybody wins out,
they're in. Now.
Well, they're obviously in.
Yeah.
But with this new system, that's going to be the shit. I mean, because I guess what I'm really trying to say is I feel like with the championship games, with the 12-team playoff, if you were to finish undefeated all the way through, there's no doubt that you should not, that college football got it right and we got the national champion.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think 12-team playoffs enough.
Like with the basketball tournament.
Exactly. And baseball.
Yeah.
So it's the most fair way.
If you can do that, it's undeniable at that
agree.
point.
Yeah, I think unanimous national champion will be the thing that because for a long time they did AP champion and coaches champion, all that.
Well,
shit.
we had a couple of co-champions back.
Oh yeah,
in our formidable years of watching ball. So, well, folks, that's our time. I hope you've had a good time. We've talked about all kinds of good stuff. We had a plan, we lost it, and then we went on with it anyway. And but I've had a good time. Jamie, you want to do another one?
Oh yeah.
Folks, again, I can't stress enough, please, one more for the Good Guys on Instagram and Facebook. Good Guys Cigars on Instagram, Facebook. Also visit our YouTube channel to be able to hear, to listen, and to watch any of the podcasts that we do.
You can get everything we do on YouTube.
Yes.
The podcasts come across as audio, and they're video and all the new ones.
Right.
Okay. But the old ones are audio on there as well. You can go straight to our YouTube channel, like it, subscribe, and you can get everything we do right there.
Yes. And when you do that, you can also go to, if you are someone who enjoys cigars, or you know someone who also might enjoy cigars, you can also look us up on Good Guys Cigars. And you know what to do there. So, be nice to one another. Be kind. Anybody can be an asshole. You hear me say this every week. It doesn't cost anything to be kind, but there's most certainly always a price to be paid for cruelty. That's one more for the Good Guys. Cheers, everybody. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find.